Since well before the rumblings of the Me Too movement began, our school system, just like institutions small and large around our country and world, has faced its own endemic issues of sexual misconduct. And like all institutions, the journey and introspection that brings us here today has not been easy. Our system has been faced with situations where people have been physically and emotionally hurt, and subsequently have been forced to carry that hurt with them throughout their lives. I'm sure that all of us at this dais wish it was unnecessary to bring forward this resolution, and also unnecessary to have a difficult conversation like this here. But that's precisely why it's so important for leaders to have conversations about sexual misconduct, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. And we owe it to everyone who has ever been affected by sexual misconduct to have this conversation. The more that we talk about these issues behind closed doors, the less they are prioritized institutionally, the less that people think we care about them, and the less people think we will do anything in response to them. Tonight, we will show through our words and passage of this resolution that we are elevating the discussion of sexual misconduct, and by doing so, changing the culture of this institution. It is important to consider our responsibility as caretakers of this institution. Some here may argue with me on this point, but I believe that boards in general, and school boards in particular, should not take the definition of caretaker to mean that we only take care of the integrity of the institution. Caretaker also means that we have to take care of everyone within the institution. In short, institutions, and especially school systems, are nothing without the people who are part of them. The biggest cultural change we are making through this resolution is our insistence that, in the eyes of this board, we respect the allegations of individuals just as much as institutional integrity. If even one person encounters an issue of sexual misconduct, that becomes a blemish on our institution as a whole. It is my firm belief that all institutions, not just school systems, need to take direct action and create their own statements and policies about sexual misconduct, like what is before us tonight. While school systems have a unique responsibility to support and train our next generation of leaders on these issues, this kind of education and training cannot be the responsibility of schools alone. I know my colleagues share a similar passion as me about this issue, as together we have had to sit in closed meeting after closed meeting to hear about sexual misconduct cases over the years. While this resolution says that we denounce sexual misconduct, I would go further to say that, as a board, we will not tolerate it. The data presented in our resolution that 14.2% of students reported being sexually harassed in the past year, with 3 times more female students than male students reporting the aggression, is absolutely unacceptable. Extrapolating from the survey data, that amounts to more than 25,000 students being harassed each year. Our responsibility as a school system is unique because in the most formative years of students' lives, we have the ability to teach them the value of respecting others and the difference between right and wrong, just as we have a responsibility to train adults about how to interact with our students and each other. It is critical that all schools and school systems prepare their students to make the right choices at all stages of life. The reach of our educational efforts at the K-12 level is stronger and deeper than anything that can be taught when our students go off to college and the workplace. When I entered college, I remember getting swamped with information about sexual harassment and assault, but I don't remember ever hearing about these things during my high school years in Fairfax County. Waiting until college to discuss these issues is far too late. We could not have this conversation in a vacuum without reflecting on what has been a very difficult and emotional few weeks for all survivors of all forms of sexual misconduct. Indeed, the public discourse over the past several weeks has had an indelible impact on our metropolitan region's views of and expectations for our schools. As has been on very public display, the choices that students make in high school stay with them for the rest of their lives. The allegations to which I refer, as well as the issues we have confronted in Fairfax County in recent years, have raised our community's collective conscience about the importance of educating about the issue of sexual misconduct at a young age. And it increases the urgency for us to pass this resolution tonight. I know that our community, not only here, but throughout the entire metropolitan Washington region, demands for us to work to ensure that something like that could never happen to our students here. To everyone who has been hurt by the past shortcomings of our system, I want to express my sincere apologies to you. I promise you that tonight this board will commit to doing everything we can to prevent incidents of sexual misconduct from occurring again. We must do better. In that spirit, I ask my colleagues for their support of this resolution.